Hey there, this is Perch, and talking about the Walmart and unless I miss my guess, Target's had some of these as well. The DC kind of super specials that have been listed there. I'll take this topic from two parts. So part number one is kind of what I think about it and how I think does it benefit sales? Is it good for comic stores? All the rest. And then the second part, like the quality of the issues themselves. So there's almost two separate topics. So the first one is it good for comics? So it definitely yes. I think the first and biggest rule of all this is it's getting comics into the hands of people in another spot. And there was some concern from comic stores like, oh no, is this going to be DC screwing us over comic stores because the comics weren't available in comic shops. And I don't think that was that big a deal. I think that there's a lot was made over are these going to be collector issues. These were a lot of comic shops who I think are still kind of clinging on to the old ways of kind of wishing that those days would come back. The people would come in and buy 30 copies of a number one issue because they're hoping that it's going to triple in value and they're going to win. It's the lottery basically. Those DC super specials, and maybe it's just the way I looked at them when they were announced, and then I was just my guess was right. I never saw them as big collectors issues that they're not going to be. Some may rise in value. There are some original stories in there, great. So for collectors who want everything of everybody's run, they're going to have to go out and find them. But I didn't see them as massive, major collector issues. And kind of right at the beginning when they came out, there was this brief eBay splurge where reports that comic shop people were sneaking into Walmart and buying them all and then taking them back to the stores and jacking up the price. I'm still unclear if that's true or that was a little bit of a myth that was perpetrated by disreputable news site. I don't know. I don't. At least in my retailer groups, I never got any of that. Definitely, there were some people who are pull box customers who would say, "Can you help us get that?" And some people went off on journeys to go find them. But it wasn't this mad collector issue scramble that I think that some people were thinking it might be. So at the end of the day, I see this as another distribution channel, another place where people can get comics, another place to grab people's attention. And the people who grab that comic and like it and want to read more, in today's day and age, they are smart enough to go say, where can I get comics? And go figure that answer out. It is every now and then you run across somebody who's like, I ran into a kid and the kid has no idea where to buy comics and no idea even where to start looking. And it's like you didn't think to put in like you could literally write where can I buy comics into Google and get answers to that question. You could it's not that hard. I mean you've got I don't think it still is, but you got the Big Bang Theory, the number one comedy sitcom, and they regularly go to a comic shop and talk about a comic shop. You can't tell me that people are completely unaware that comic shops exist in any way. You can't. Nobody can. I mean, those people are dumb. I mean, let's just say it. Those people, if there's people out there just have no idea this stuff exists. I mean, how do you what intersectional world do you find yourself where you go to the movies, several of which have featured comic stores in the movies. You see Captain Marvel, and you're like, wow, I loved Captain Marvel. If only there was a comic book for Captain Marvel. I mean, for a long time, the comic book pages were in the logo, so it's not. You can figure this one out. If you've ever, I mean, these same people, if there's somebody who can't figure out how to use a search engine to find a comic store, these have to be the same people like, man, I'm really hungry. If only I knew where I could eat. But sadly, I have no idea. I'm standing in this barren, empty field of tulips, and I have no idea of what to do. Do I go north, south, east, west? Where can I find food? If only there was something that could tell me where to find food. I, those people are going to die. I mean, just natural selection is going to take care of those people. You can figure it out. So I think that people going in to buy these things, it's another just place where it's another set of eyeballs, is what we say in the business. It's another place where people can find, discover, read a comic book, and hopefully get hooked to do more. And that's certainly what DC was trying to do with it. So I see those efforts as very positive. I think if you could put those super specials or things like them in libraries and gas stations, in supermarkets, in Target, Walmart, you name it. As many places as we can get them, let's get them there. I think that's good for comics. It's good for the business. It's good for everybody. So more of that, please. Um, so I'm a big fan of it. I think great. Now, in terms of the content of the actual issues itself, in many cases these stories are like little teasers. They're intended to kind of pull you in to want you to get your whet the appetite so you'll read more. And some stories have been better at that than others. There have been some real stinkers in there. There have been some others who have been fine. The Tom King, was it Tom King or Bendis? I don't remember now. It's like Superman imagining Lois getting murdered in many different ways. That was just like, again, like, why why do you want to tell that story? Nobody is asking for this, and none of that is going to encourage a 12-year-old to go find more comics. I mean, or if they are, we need to get that 12-year-old on a list, because anybody's going to read that story of, hey, look at this, there's Superman worrying about Lois, and a lot of graphic detail of how Lois can be killed over and over and over again. Yeah, if that's going to interest you in Superman, then, well, number one, you're going to be very disappointed in Superman when you finally get your hands on it, and two, you're weird. You're not normal. There's something not right with that boy. So, but most stories have been just kind of innocuous, good little kind of teasers for stories to come and things you can get in the future. So I think generally okay. Though very weird censorship in that I'm calling it what it is. It's after the fact art editing where you're gonna take Wonder Woman's little swimsuit costume and you're gonna draw like more butt onto it. It's like, one, why are you doing that? It's ridiculous to do that. You've got a bunch of fashion magazines. You have Cosmo. You have GQ. You have a bunch of magazines like right down the way on the shelf that kids are seeing, where the girl is completely topless. She's just standing there like with her hand over her chest, grinning at you like, hey, how about I've got some makeup tips for you? And oh no, my shirt fell off. Um, so you're gonna very hacky. I mean, I'm bothered on two levels. I'm bothered that, one, you need to do it in the first place. You don't. That's not the level of, I mean, again, you're in Walmart. You go, down the aisle about 40 feet, and they're just there's panties there. They're selling. There's posters of women in panties to sell the panties. Why are you censoring the comic book that has Wonder Woman in some shorts that are not as revealing as the panties, the actual real life panties that are sold down the way? That just seems weird. That seems really, really weird. Um, and you could say, well, we don't want kids looking at this. They're going to look at it. It's right there. It's right down the aisle. I mean, you don't need to be more covered up than the J.C. Penney catalog. You don't need to do that. What are you doing? Uh, I mean, if you're in a mall, you walk by Victoria's Secret and there's giant posters of the underwear model, like, hey, get into this, wink. We mean the underwear. I don't know where your crazy sick mind was at. It's like, yeah, yeah, okay. uh, you know what are you hiding? This makes no sense. And on the other level, I'm bothered because you did a terrible job. If you're going to censor something, like, this would be a case where they just should have put a big black bar over that whole section. It would have looked better than this weird elongated butt that, because the person drawing it clearly has no skill. So they're just, they're like, this is, I mean, this is the scenario in my head. The Walmart issue is going out. It's late at night. It's Friday night, and it's 4:45, and everybody's pretty much gone. And there's some buddy who's sitting at the desk who doesn't really do a lot of work. They mainly surf Facebook all day. Yeah, Facebook or MySpace. I'm going to make them even more lame. They're surfing a completely irrelevant site, and suddenly this editor comes rushing in and going, "Hey, I don't know. What do you think? This butt here, this Wonder Woman's costume, it's showing a lot of hip. So maybe, do you think we should edit it? Do you think Walmart's going to be bothered by this?" And like another editor is there going, "Oh, oh man, that's like a Midwest company. Those Midwest people, they don't like to see any butts. So, man, we should do something. We don't want to get in trouble. Hey, who's still here?" And it's like, this is where the guy who's surfing Facebook like turns around like, well, it's like, we need you to cover up all these pages quick. We gotta send these out to the printer before the end of the day so they can get done during the weekend. So hurry, just open up Photoshop and make some edits. And so this guy's like completely not capable of doing the job, and they're like bringing it up, and he's like trying to. It's like, all right, I'll take the clone tool and just stretch these pants down. Oh no, now I've made like a double butt. So now I've got to, use the smudge tool and kind of wipe that thing. That's how I picture this is going on, because it's like it's laughable how terrible it is. It's a complete and utter joke. Anyway, well, there you go. That's what I think of the Walmart specials. I think they're a great idea. I think they help comic sales. I think they're good for comic sales. I think there should be more of them. So more efforts like this, please. The more, as many of these you can get out, the better. And simultaneously, if you're trying to hook readers, and you are, then make the comic not crappy. You, you gotta you're gonna need to not make really really terrible edits. And if you're trying to hook readers in, give them some nice, like the stories that were in Superman 1000, Action Comics 1000, sorry, and Detective Comics 1000. Like those were perfect. Almost all those stories were perfect little kind of nutshell, quick snapshot stories of the character. Very iconic, very timeless. Will help get people into the store. More of those, less snuff films with Lois Lane. Less Lois Lane snuff films. That's my advice. There you have it. Hey there. Thanks for listening. If you would like, if you'd be so inclined, I would deeply appreciate it. Why don't you subscribe? That would be awesome. Subscribe, hit the bell for notification if you want to be notified and bothered. Like the video, don't like the video, whatever you feel like. Your opinion matters. So leave me a comment. Would love to hear what you think. And follow me on social media at Comic Perch on Twitter. And again, thank you for listening.